Okay, it looks like this thing is working now. So, here goes. This is Robertson, former commander of the Takahashi Industries deep space research vessel Icarus, and later the ISS Volunder's Anvil. The date is June 14th, 2078, and I am currently being held prisoner at the Tartarus Montes Maximum Security Correctional Facility here on Mars. I'm awaiting trial. I haven't been given a date for that yet, only that it'll be held at the High Court in the Queneset colony, which is almost on the other side of Mars if my memory serves me right. At the moment I'm being kept in solitary confinement, as apparently this is for both my own safety and that of my fellow prisoners, as I am considered too dangerous to be let loose among the general prisoner population. Yep, you heard me right, being a clone makes me some sort of deadly boogeyman, but I'll get into that in more detail later. Right now, I'd like to thank the representatives from the Soul Cooperative for sending me this cool little recording device so that I can make a statement and give my full account regarding the charges that have been made against me, of which there are 9, I kid you not. Some of them I can kind of understand, but others are completely ridiculous and I strongly contest them. Anyway, let's get started with these charges, shall we? The first charge is of being an illegal, unregistered and dangerous replicant, clone or biomechanical construct. Now, I am a clone, that is true. The original me died many years ago, but as for being dangerous or illegal, I would have to ask how I am any more dangerous than any other natural-born human being. You see, I have all the original memories of my former self. True, they may be more hazy and dreamlike than I'd like them to be, but I still remember pretty much everything from my former life, even my childhood and growing up. The only reason why I was cloned was because I was dying. I was getting old anyway and had pretty much come to terms with my fate. My own wife had been dead for years and there really wasn't anything holding me back. But then, all of a sudden, an elderly Japanese fellow walks into my hospital room explaining that he's the very same person who I'd saved along with his then wife years ago on Mars back during the last war. And that if I wanted he could return the favour and arrange to have me fixed up. Providing that I was interested in helping him take part in an expedition to deep space, of course. Naturally, I thought, what the hell, and said yes. I didn't know that he planned on having me cloned until he explained that he'd gotten in touch with his colleague Dr. Tyrell and that they were interested in performing an experimental procedure on me where they would record all my memories and implant them onto a newly replicated clone of myself, with a few improvements to remove some minor genetic flaws. Now, I'd actually fought alongside some skin jobs back during the Battle of Tannhauser Gate and remembered them being exceptionally fast, strong, and able to take a hell of a lot of punishment, so I'd kinda gotten pretty excited about it all. Unfortunately, when I asked about that, I was told that my new body would be pretty normal and I'd just be a younger version of myself, but my mind would be sharper and my body would be in better condition than before. Plus, I wouldn't need LASIK eye surgery again as my eyesight would be 20/20 already. Apparently, if I was successful, they were going to try and perform the procedure again, only this time it was going to be the memories of the head doctor's niece. I think he said her name was Rachel or something. I never got the chance to find out though, as shortly after I was brought back, I went straight into physiotherapy, then went into training for Dr. Takahashi's expedition to Proxima Centauri. So you see, I'm not some dangerous superhuman skin job that's a borderline sociopath. I'm essentially just a clone of myself. Plus, I have all my old memories and what I feel is pretty much my own original personality. Now, I will admit that I do kind of feel and look a little different to what I did originally, but not enough to say that I'm anything more than a younger twin brother or son of my original self. Now, I understand that shortly before we left Earth that replicants were illegal on Earth because some of them had started to develop their own emotions and had become psychopathic. But that's because they didn't really have their own memories or proper personalities. They were just pretty much blank clones that were given superhuman abilities and programmed to do certain jobs. So when you think about it, it's no wonder that some of them are going to go a little haywire. But since I'm not like that, I'd have to say that it's not an issue with regards to me, unless we now live in a society which bans clones completely, in which case they may as well persecute identical twins, as they're essentially clones created by nature. Now for the second charge, which is manslaughter, 5 counts, sending a vessel containing a dangerous alien biocontaminant back to the Sol system, indirectly resulting in the deaths of 5 members of a USAC rescue team and the destruction of the rescue vessel Lewis and Clark. Well, that's utter bollocks. Anyone that's watched the recorded footage from my helmet-mounted camera will realise that the only reason why I activated the gravity drive on that twisted vessel was so that I could personally travel back to the Sol system and get help. I even programmed the arrival location to be within the pool of Neptune's gravity, so that way if anything happened to me, the ship would have fallen into the gas giant and be destroyed. When I realised that the event horizon was contaminated, as has been so eloquently put, and that the gravity drive was dangerous, I tried to turn the damn thing off, but the ship's computer just wouldn't let me. Regardless, the fact that the ship was either intercepted before it fell into Neptune's atmosphere or emerged somewhere else in the Sol system and was found later on is not really my fault. Yes, I sent it back, but it was unintentional, and the footage that was taken will prove that. And the third charge against me is gross negligence and dereliction of duty resulting in the deaths of 2 members of my crew under my responsibility. Bullshit. I was still asleep in the cryo chamber on the Icarus when both doctors, Sarkar and Takahashi made the decision to use the rescue ship and board the event horizon. I was only revived later when Benson, our ship's AI, hadn't heard back from them in hours and had become concerned about their well-being. Once I'd fully woken up, I made all reasonable attempts to get in touch with both of my crewmates, and even went as far as leaving the Icarus to try to find out what had happened to them. When I did find Dr. Sarkar's body, it was clear that she'd been dead for a while, most likely whilst I was still in cryo. I tried my best to find Dr. Takahashi on the event horizon, but regardless of wherever I looked or how hard I tried to get in touch with him, I just couldn't find him. I heard him speaking over the comms, but he wasn't making any sense, and he didn't seem to be at the location that Benson said the comm signal was coming from. I strongly suspect that either Dr. Takahashi was already corrupted by the influence of the ship and had lost his mind, or that he was already dead and that the ship was just creating a ghost of him to try and play tricks with my mind. Sadly, I don't know enough about how the ship was affected by this other dimension it was exposed to give a more precise answer. But what I do know is that I was most definitely not negligent in my duty and did everything in my power to try to save my 2 crewmates. The simple fact of the matter is just that by the time I was revived, it was already too late to save either of them, and I feel that the video evidence I have will back me up on that. Now, the fourth charge against me is knowingly hacking an IESA database and the theft of highly classified data. Now, of all the charges mentioned so far, it pains me to have to admit that this is the only one that I feel that I'm truly guilty of. But I had good reason for doing what I did. I mean, I was on a strange vessel, my crew had gone missing, and I was only getting incoherent babbling from one of them. There was no sign of anyone else on the ship, well, except for the dead body on the bridge, that is. So I took it upon myself to ask Benson to hack into the IESA database in order to try to find out what was going on, as I strongly felt that any information contained within it could have helped save both my life and that of any surviving members of my crew. While I do regret my actions, I feel they were justified at the time. Furthermore, as I understand it, the IESA no longer exists now, so yeah, it's been defunct for many years, with the Mars Provisional Government taking over many of the responsibilities of the IESA, so I do have to wonder about the validity of this charge. I mean, can I still be charged for a crime against a non-existent entity? Charge number 5 is unauthorized tampering with IESA property. I don't really understand this charge. If it means accessing the IESA database, then I've already explained my reasons for doing so earlier and feel that they apply here too. If it's for boarding the event horizon and activating the gravity drive, then yes, I agree that I'm guilty of doing that, but again, with good reason, and I feel that my actions were justified, as there was sufficient evidence that either someone or something on board the ship was guilty of murdering one of my crew, and that sending the ship back to the Sol system using the gravity drive was the most prudent course of action, mainly due to the fact that Proxima Centauri was just too far away to receive assistance, and that I needed to get back to the Sol system and alert the authorities. Now, charge number 6 against me is, and you're going to love this one, being in possession of an illegal AI. Now, this is a trumped up charge if ever I've seen one, because Benson was not an illegal AI at the time the expedition started. All this nonsense has come about because back in, I think it was 2072, an AI that was installed on some station orbiting Saturn went rogue after being hacked and apparently started killing people. What's worse is that it turns out that the AI that went nuts is actually based on the original code that was used to create Benson. So, in layman's terms, Benson is like the father or grandfather of the killer AI. What they don't seem to understand is that Benson was designed to be inherently safe, so he's completely obedient and his programming doesn't allow him to harm human beings, especially ones he's responsible for. And unlike the AI that went rogue, Benson isn't even half as advanced. He doesn't have the ability to challenge decisions made by his crew or programming that gives him any kind of self-governing capabilities. To me, it sounds like they went down a dangerous path when they designed this new AI and they got burned as a result. Trying to say that Benson is illegal or dangerous just because he shares some of the same code is like trying to say that my old car's GPS software is illegal or dangerous because it's made by the same people that now make deadly killer battle droids. When you think about it, it's nuts. It's crazy. Whatever the case, they've taken Benson away from me anyway after I was captured and I was told I've already disassembled him, so sadly it looks like he's gone for good now. The 7th charge against me is knowingly negotiated with an extraterrestrial species on humanity's behalf without prior consent or authorization from any state or corporate official based in the Sol system. This is another trumped-up charge, and has probably come about because some of the corporations that are running the show now are a little annoyed that they weren't there to get involved in the first contact situation with the Thalia, and of course the chance to get their hands on some advanced technology. As far as I'm concerned, if I hadn't made contact with the Thalia and came to an agreement with them, I probably wouldn't be alive right now to tell the tale, so I have absolutely no regrets about that one. The 8th charge against me is being in possession of illegal military-grade firearms and shipborne weaponry. As opposed to what? Using harsh language to defend myself out there? Seriously, if I hadn't armed my vessels with military-grade weaponry, I wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes against both the pirates and the People's Republic invasion fleet. Chances are this charge has been brought against me because I scuttled the Volander's anvil, thus destroying the shield generators and energy weapon technology that one of those corporations wanted to get their grubby little hands on. Yeah, well, that's too bad. And the 9th and final charge against me is being an illegal combatant. Now, unless there's been some huge changes in interstellar law since I've been gone, I am pretty sure that there's nothing in the Geneva Convention that says that I'm not allowed to fight in another star system, where none of the corporations or governing authorities in the Sol system have any jurisdiction over at all whatsoever. I hired my services as a mercenary to the Thalia, yes, but since they are an entirely separate alien species and have an official form of government and command structure, I'd assume that this makes it completely legal, does it not? Besides, and more to the point, I only fought against pirates and ships belonging to the People's Republic, which, if I'm correct in understanding, are considered hostile to all the corporations in the Sol system, and especially to the Mars Provisional Government. In fact, the People's Republic personnel that fled the Sol system and attacked the Thalia are considered war criminals. They should be giving me a medal for dealing with them, not trying to charge me for it. Overall, the charges against me have all been blown out of proportion, and this feels more like a witch hunt than an actual attempt at any sort of justice. I can only surmise that one or more of the corporations that are running the show behind the scenes here are trying to get their puppets in the Martian government to try and make an example out of me. The reason why, however, still eludes me at this stage. I mean, what do they hope to gain out of all of this? Oh, and to add insult to injury, a representative from Results-Oriented Sciences visited me a few days ago. It turns out that I'm a person of interest in an ongoing investigation into the disappearance of the Ross 4 survey vessel Pathfinder and its crew. I have no idea why though, as it looks like the Pathfinder went missing in Alpha Centauri A at around the same time that I arrived in the Sol system in the Volander's Anvil. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't anything to do with the Sarkar Takahashi Memorial Base, as I made sure everything was powered down before I left. And even if they did decide to board the place and turn everything back on, those tiny turrets at the entrance of the docking bay are hardly a threat to a large survey vessel and an inexperienced crew. No, if I was a betting man, I'd say they most likely found that monolith that I tried to take back, and probably made the same mistake I did and tried to use their jump drive with it either attached to the ship or in their cargo hold. Hell knows where they ended up if that was the case. Anyway, I just hope that when it comes to the trial that they give me a good lawyer. Although I have a horrible feeling that it won't really make any difference, and that the powers that be have already decided on my fate. But, as with everything else, I guess I'll just have to wait and see. The date is now June 23rd, 2078. It's been over a week now and I've still not heard anything back regarding a date for my trial, and I'm beginning to get a little concerned to say the least. More so since the last two people that questioned me refused to say which corporation they were working for, and they seemed more interested in interrogating me regarding the Thalia and the monolith I found. The truth is, I'm running out of answers for them, and I'm getting a feeling that it's only a matter of time before I outlive my usefulness. I don't think I'm going to live to see any trial. Ah, what now? So much for being able to get a decent night's sleep.
Security breach detected. Lockdown procedures are now in effect.
Oh, hang on a second, that sounds serious. How the hell did they manage that? Whoa, that sounds like gunfire. Oh, hang on a second, something's written on that screen. Robertson, read this carefully. I've hacked prison security and unlocked all the doors to the courtyard, where I will be landing shortly to get you out of there. Get moving before the defences come back online. Some of the turrets have already started to reboot and have begun firing on anything that moves. Also watch out for the guards. I've been paid a lot of credits to make sure you get out of there alive, so don't screw up. Gambit. Who the hell is Gambit? This could be a trick so that I can be legally killed whilst escaping. But it could also very well be genuine. Oh, what the hell. I'm living on borrowed time in here anyway. Let's do this.
Prisoner 826.
Well, it looks like the coast is clear so far.
Hey, come on, bro. Let me out.
Sorry, man. No can do. In fact, I don't want to let any of these raging sociopaths out. If they're in solitary confinement, there's probably a very good reason why. I just hope all the rest of these doors are locked. Yep, all good so far. Now let's see what lies beyond.
Reports of rioting in cell blocks A, B, and C.
We've got one turret down and a dead guard. Nobody else around from what I can see, so it looks like those two probably shot each other. That's a good start. I will, however, take his weapon and his ammo, because I think it's safe to say he won't be needing them anymore. And what I'll also do whilst I'm here is take your wrist computer and your gloves. I just hope they fit. Ah, that's better. It's not perfect, but it'll do for now. This door's still locked, but that's okay. I've got a feeling that's just an admin office anyway. Ah, the main cell blocks. It's under lockdown, and from the sounds of things, it's full of rioting prisoners and angry guards. Yeah, I don't think going in there would be a wise idea. Besides, I need to stay on track and get through to that courtyard as quickly as I can, which means I've got to go through this guardhouse up ahead. Ah, another dead guard. That means the turret in here must have gone haywire too. I'll need to try and take it out before it has a chance to shoot back at me. Well, that was lucky. The thing was facing the wrong way. It looks like the ground floor is clear, and that's the blast doors that lead outside to the landing pad. I'll need to secure the floors above me first though, and also see if I can spot any guards outside. That airlock leads outside, but I can't go there yet as I don't have a spacesuit. There's the landing pad. Unfortunately, it looks like it's already occupied. I hope my rescuer has enough space to land on the ground next to it instead. I'm not seeing any guards moving around out there, but there are what appears to be bodies lying around. I need to find another window to get a better look. And trying not to get burnt to a crisp, of course. That was a bit too toasty for my liking. Right, let's see what's down there. I've got one turret that seems to be still, and I can see movement just behind it over there. Damn it, that means we've got at least one active turret outside. I'll try and use this command console and see if I can turn it off somehow. Right, let's try searching for its name. Interior turret. There we go. Ah, damn it, it's not letting me access it. Oh, hang on a second, what does this one say? Aha, factory settings restored. Does that mean I can... Haha, yes, I can control it. Right, you bugger, where are you? There we are. That's one way of dealing with a rogue turret. I can see one dead guard down there, and another just in the corner over there. Those reflective stripes means there's another body on the landing pad. Can't see anybody else though. That's fine. Okay, it looks like the rest of the way is relatively clear. If there's anyone or anything else outside, I'll deal with it whilst I'm down there. Now, did I see any spacesuits whilst I was down here earlier? I'd better check. Ah, perfect! A locker filled with HEV suits. That'll allow me to venture outside without suffocating. Right, time for a quick change. Hey, now I look just like one of those guards. Right, visor down, it's time to get outside. Oh, now that's fancy. I like this HUD they're using. I have to admit, it does kinda put the one in my old suit to shame. Anyway, I need to get outside as soon as possible. That Gambit fellow will probably be landing here any minute now. Just need to make sure there's no turrets or guards kicking about though. Ah, there he is, I can see him. Right, I'll just take your... Oh no, no, no! The defences are back online! Quickly, land you son of a bitch! Dive! Oh shit. Ah! Damn it! Well, bollocks. There goes my ticket out of here. Well, now that the man that was supposed to rescue me is quite literally an X-Man, it means I've got to figure out another way out of here. In fact, I'm going to take a closer look at that ship on the landing pad. It's most likely going to be locked anyway, but hey, it's worth a try. A small cargo dolly, not much use though. And I'm guessing this was the pilot. Nothing useful on him though. Okay, let's see if I can get into this thing. Access denied. Well, I was kind of expecting that. There's still no sign of any guards, so I'll take this opportunity to look in the back and see if there's anything useful inside this thing. Nope, that's an oxygen generator. Nothing in there. Ah, jackpot. I'll take the welder, the hand drill, and that grinder. Perfect. Now, the cockpit on this thing is the modular design that's almost identical to the one in my old aerospace fighter. If that's the case, then I can grind it down, change its ownership so that it belongs to me, then weld it back up again and use it for myself. Or at least that's the plan. There's always the chance that the design has changed since I was gone, and it's now fitted with an anti-theft device that will cause the ship to suddenly explode when I grind the cockpit down. But, you know, it's best not to think about that sort of thing right now. There we are. All I need to do now is just hit this master reset button here and weld it back up again. I'll need to be quick though, as I'll be very surprised if everything that's happened here tonight hasn't alerted the Martian military. There's a very good chance that reinforcements are on the way right this moment. And once they realise that I am not a real guard, I am pretty much as good as dead. Okay, let's get this ramp closed up. Excellent. The interface is the same, which means I can just change the ownership of everything to me. Then try and figure out how I fly this thing. Right, that just seems to lower the wheels a bit more. Okay. And that's turned the thrusters on. I'm getting there. And that lets me cycle through all the camera views. That's useful. And I've just identified the controls that switch the VTOL modes. Excellent. Now, as soon as I lift off, those defences are going to open up on me. I'm going to have to do some fancy flying just to get out of this alive. Okay, here goes nothing. It's getting a little hairy up here. That's a lot of firepower. Come on, Commander, you can do this. Just keep jinking. Whoa, that was close. Whew, looks like I'm finally out of range. That was intense. All I've got to do now is keep accelerating and try to get into orbit. I have absolutely no doubt that my unauthorized launch was detected. I'll have to check behind me every so often just to make sure I'm not being pursued. The good news is that I'm not seeing any warnings, either red or yellow on the damage screen, which seems to suggest that I've managed to come out of that firestorm with very little to no damage, which is nothing short of a minor miracle. Once we get into orbit, hopefully I'll have time to go on a very quick EVA and inspect the exterior of the ship and see what kind of damage it suffered. There's still no sign of pursuit, which is good. The problem is that this ship, despite its relatively small size, has pretty powerful engines. Seriously, they are very impressive. Which unfortunately means that it stands out like a Roman candle against deep space when viewed by any half-decent sensor network. But that's just the start of my problems. This ship has very limited range, and probably only enough oxygen to last me another 4 days, which essentially means that I need to find somewhere safe to dock either back on Mars, or with a larger ship or space station in orbit. I could try flying to either of the Martian moons of Phobos or Deimos, but since they both have bases on them that belong to one of the corporations, it's unlikely that I'll find any friends there. The only other option I have is to risk trying to seek help from one of the space pirate factions or other unsavoury types, but they'd most likely kill me as a look at me, and most of their ships and bases are likely to lurk in the asteroid belt or outer regions of the solar system, which is well beyond the range of this vessel, or its ability to support me. No, I need to come up with another plan. I just hope I come up with one soon. Regardless, I'll keep trying to record my experiences using this cool little Soul co-op recording device. That way, whatever happens to me, at least someone out there will have the chance to see things from my side, and draw their own conclusions. My main objective now if it's even possible, is to find some way to return to Red Mountain Base in the Tau Ceti system. It looks as though it's the only home I've got left now. I'm almost in orbit now. So far so good. Sunrise over Mars. Seeing something like this still takes my breath away, even now. Okay, I think it's safe enough to slow down slightly, and once I'm down to a reasonable speed, I'll go on a quick EVA to survey the damage. I don't want to slow down too much though, just in case we are being pursued. Right, I think that should do. I'll just do some last minute checks to make sure everything's okay. And step outside. Whoops, slowed down a bit too much there. I'm not used to this new spacesuit and HUD. There we go, that's better. That's actually not too bad at all. It looks like some of the armour plating along the top and some of the armour plating on the left side of the tail boom has taken some damage, but everything else looks fine. All the rest of the thrusters and external components appear to be intact. This is turning out to be quite a tough little ship. Either that or I did a better job at evading the gunfire than I realised. Right, let's get back inside. Excellent. Well, it looks like I successfully escaped from the infamous Tartarus Montes prison, but I'm still left wondering just who that Gambit fellow was, and more importantly, who hired him to rescue me and why. Who knows, maybe if I somehow live long enough, I'll find out the answer.